to another edition of Aggie Spotlight. Today we are shining the light on a courageous Aggie alum who has devoted his life to promote a clear understanding of Scripture and bringing change in the communities of the world. Being named the most influential person in the triad since 2005, today we welcome Bishop George Brooks. Hello, how are you?
Fine, how are you today, Joy?
So welcome, I'm good. Welcome back. How does it feel to be back in Aggie land?
Well, always when I come on campus, it's exciting to see the changes, the progress, to see the students, and to, of course, know that we do some things so well here that no other HBCU does. So I'm just always proud to be back on the campus.
You got that right. You're showing that Aggie pride.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, everywhere I go, I'm forever recruiting students, and invariably students live with us who attend A&T. So I'm always promoting A&T.
So when were you here? What were the years you were here?
Well, actually, I came here in '64, and I left to go away to be a computer programmer in D.C., and I had forgotten during that time that if you left college, you could get drafted. So I got drafted, went to Vietnam, stayed in the military for a while, came back out, got married, and then I came back here and graduated in 1973, industrial tech major, manufacturing specialty. I carried about 19 credit hours per semester, was newly married, and was working a 40-hour job, and graduated top of my class.
Oh, wow. Wow, you had quite an Aggie experience. How did you leave your mark? Did you join SGA while you were here? Or?
I did.
Oh.
And of course, I was always back on campus and very supportive because in 1973, of course, I graduated. In 1975, I started pastoring. And so I had some connections here on campus with the automotive department, industrial tech department. So I would come over from time to time and just hang around and then get involved and got students involved. But pretty much I've been connected to A&T since 1964.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's strong.
And so now I serve on the advisory board for Arts and Sciences.
For College of Arts and Sciences, yeah. That's right. Well, when you got your BS in industrial technology, what did you want to do with that?
Well, initially I started out I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. And after I left and came back, I decided I didn't want to sit behind the drawing board for the rest of my life. What I wanted to do with manufacturing was, at the time I was with a corporation going up the corporate ladder, and they had established my career path. So manufacturing was what I wanted to do. And so I was doing time studies and analysis and hand motions and all of that kind of stuff. So I really wanted to rise to the level of being a CEO. And ultimately, of course, own my own company, which I did years later. With
Mount Zion. So your own company, that's company of, well, it's a company of 37 years in the making. How does that feel to have something 37 years straight to you, only to you?
Well, it's absolutely amazing. At first, it's very, very challenging, as all new endeavors are. But secondarily, it's a matter of deciding your goal and what you want to do. And what I'm a stickler for writing my goals down, setting the vision, having a plan, and executing the plan. Because if you have a 1-year goal, 3-year goal, 5-year goal, and you aren't doing something towards that goal every day, when the time has expired, you won't have accomplished your goal. So you got to be doing something towards your goal every day. So every morning, you know, I guess I'm like the gazelle and the lion. You know, in the morning, the gazelle gets up, and if he's not running fast enough, he's going to become the lion's meal. And the lion wakes up every morning, and if he's not running fast enough, he's going to be hungry. So every day you got to wake up running, either to save your life or to have food to nourish you. So it's a matter of planning that. And then there's a lot to do with God, things that I didn't even think of, things I wasn't aware of, that just came to my path that God directed towards my path, and I was able to do those things. As a matter of fact, one of my ministers says, you know, if you really knew what you were doing, you'd be dangerous. So, so the reality of it is, I knew in my heart that I wanted to help people. And my goal, that's really my goal, is to help make people the best they can be. And you do that by, looking at the morals, principles. You do that by looking at their skill sets. And you do that by encouraging them when they're down. For an example, a young minister now named William Dungy came to our church, a very, very gifted guy. And I helped him get started in his ministry. And so he was over my youth ministry, and he was on campus, and we were starting to get students to come in, and he's involved into a senior pastor. I have plenty of people who've gone on to become CEOs, to become doctors, lawyers, nurses, to become good people in the community, to work on city council, all of those kinds of things. So my goal is to help people become the best they can be, and sometimes that requires pulling, sometimes that requires prodding, sometimes that requires just simple encouragement. I've discovered that if I encourage you, that it not only tends to motivate you, but it tends to cause the best in you to come out and you encourage others. And in my own life, I had to make some critical decisions. Oftentimes we talk about our weaknesses, and I've discovered that I should strengthen my strengths and manage my weaknesses. Mm-hmm. And by that I mean, let me give you a classical example. I am not a great singer. Now I sing, but I'm not a great singer. So I could go to the best voice teacher in the world, go to the best music department or this music department, spend all the money I could spend, and spend years doing it, but I would not be much of a better singer. Mm-hmm. And so for me to focus on my weakness, to try to strengthen it, to me is counterproductive when I know my strengths, and that's what I should be working with. So where I'm strong, make that stronger. Where I'm weak, make sure you manage that and it doesn't manage you. Because if you start focusing only on your weaknesses, you'll discover that day by day you'll become depressed. Day by day you'll discover that you're not making any progress, and it will keep you at a level that you'll never realize your best.
Wow. Well, that was strong right there. That was it. But so, that's kind of like your mission statement of your church, Mount Zion Baptist Church. And so you've taken that mission statement. If you went outside the U.S., you've been to Haiti, you've been to, and you just got back from Africa. So what was your main goal in Africa?
Well, in Africa, and let me just tell you that story. A friend of mine's mother from Africa was ill. I was on the board of directors at Moses Cone Hospital. And we were over there, and she got some medical attention, but was unable to pay for it, and so we helped her get that done. And then, of course, she wanted to go back home, and my friend couldn't afford to fly back home with his mother. So my wife and I decided that we would escort her home in Africa. So we got on the plane, and we helped fly her home and get her back home situated. Well, my friend had a brother who's a minister there. So we became real friends, and we started a church there, Legon Baptist Church, and we helped him get his own home. We helped build the church, and I just got back from dedicating another level of the church. We have 4 other churches now there that we support, and of course we go into the bush as well as the city, and of course we build buildings and help them become self-sufficient in spreading the gospel and the good news of Jesus Christ. And it is an absolutely beautiful building. It's about 500-600 members right now, and 4 of the small outlying churches. And we go there and we teach them the scriptures. We also train them leadership skills. We ordained a deacon while we were there, and we ordained and trained some leaders while we were there. We mentored some other ministers that were there. So we go there primarily to train, teach, and promote Christ. And we're there also at Legon University, where we have some interaction with the campus there that has a relationship with A&T.
Oh, wow. So explain more about that relationship.
Well, A&T, Agricultural and Technical, well, the issue is Ghana, West Africa needs that expertise. So there's a working relationship between A&T and Legon University, and A&T takes its expertise over there to help them grow better crops, to help them be more productive, to help them be better stewards of what God has given them, and help them in many ways. I talk to students over there, and they know A&T like you may know the Chorus Center. So it's a very familiar name. So a lot of Legon University students go to Legon Baptist Church, which is a church we helped start and are growing.
Oh, wow. So you took Aggie Pride worldwide.
Oh, absolutely.
So the same thing was in Haiti. You did some of the same things.
Did some of the very same things. When the earthquake occurred in Haiti, of course, we were there. I'm also the Bishop of Administration for the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship International, and we were going there to help rebuild. But my initial mission trip was with Will Dungy, the young guy I just talked about, and his church. We went there to help build churches, to help spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, to help the people, again, become independent, self-sufficient. And we did a lot of great things, helping them build buildings and churches, and more importantly, help build their self-esteem, understand their value in spite of their poverty. Oh. And so when the earthquake came, of course, we've been going back and forth several times to meet needs. We've sent tents there to get them out of the weather and exposure. We were part of the tent city building project. We also sent food, medical supplies to help the people of Haiti recover and get back on their feet. And they really still need a lot of help.
Oh, wow. So how many members would you say is over there, or is upon the churches over there?
Well, I would say in Haiti, we're probably somewhere about 1,000, something like that.
The same in Africa? Wow. Now, coming back to Greensboro, how many members? It's over 5,000, right?
Yes, but you know, we try not to count numbers. What we try to do is promote and help people become individuals, and then we have the corporate. Yeah, that's a valid number. The thing about it is that we're constantly growing, but you know, we are kind of a regional transitional church, and let me tell you what I mean by that. We have people who drive into our church every Sunday from as far away as South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
We have people driving in every Sunday from Virginia. We have people driving in from Raleigh and Durham. So we are kind of a regional church, but we do have international impact. And one of the things that we have to be cognizant of is leadership, because we have a lot of college students who will come, stay with us 4 years, get their degree. Then, of course, they go on to promote their careers, develop their families, and so they may be gone. So we literally have people all over the world who write in, call in, text, tweet, or whatever, and you know, we are streaming now, and so we get streaming feedback, and we will continue to grow. But I do think that the church of the future will be a church who has many satellites. So we're looking at how we can have satellite churches. I think the day of the mega church is about to come to its pinnacle because of the cost to focus in on a mega church. And I think people like this age, your age group, you really like the intimacy of small groups. And you guys can meet in a restaurant and feel good. You can meet in a home and feel good. You can meet at a theater or a jazz festival and feel good. And you can serve God at different locales. And what we're trying to do is maintain a central place where all of us can come together. We can learn some things from you. You can learn some things from us, and then you can pass it on to the next generation. So there will always be, I think, a central location. But I think while the mega church became a one-stop shop type church, I think people are looking more for today, what does it take to help develop me individually and another small group of like-minded people? We developed small groups, and initially we did it geographically. We divided the city up into regions and said, okay, here's maybe 500 people over here, let them meet and let this be a district. But we discovered that people of like professions like to be together, although they may come from Northwest Greensboro, Southeast Greensboro, and meet in the city of Greensboro. They're able to have common interests, and we've discovered that that's better than just putting people together geographically. Also, you know, one of the things that I'm really about is young people. I am a young person fanatic, to be just honest with you. I have so much faith and trust in young people, like yourself. And my philosophical stance isn't that you're the leaders of the future. My stance is you're leading right now. And unless we help you develop and become the best you can be, then when I'm old and, and walking on a cane and all that kind of stuff, I won't have anybody to fight for me, to encourage me, to lead me. So, in our city, we were the first African-American church to have full-time staff for youth. And in doing that, we were able to develop a very young church. The median age of our church is very, very young. And so we had parents who were attending other churches and other denominations, but their children said, we want to go to Mount Zion. And so they would literally come drop their kids off, go to their church, come back and pick them up. And we just really started saying to them, look, it's important for family to get the same teaching. So there were cases where people said, listen, Pastor, I want to be with my daughter, my son, and we're going to come worship here, but this is my family church over here, and we will stay here with you as long as our daughter is here, but when she goes off to college or whatever, then we'll probably go back to our home church. Well, didn't happen. But that's kind of how we built. I really focused in on the community and young people. While young people did not have financial resources to give back, they bring so many things to the table. They bring creativity. They bring genuineness. They bring authenticity. They really bring a representation of who God is, because God is pure. And when they come in, they have purity, And I can tell anybody, if your child loves me and I love your child, you're going to do some things that pleases your child, and attending church and programs will be one of the things you do. So we started to develop programs that involved young people. We have choirs, and we developed youth churches, and we developed retreats, and just a multitude of things that did not have any direct financial returns right then, but long term it has. And that's been really the thrust of our whole ministry, is to get the young people involved, help the adults understand who they are, to help develop them, and then reach out to the community, to those that may never come to your church. We do a lot of things at our church that are not for our members. We have a program called Helping Hands, and we give 10% of our income to people that need help for lights, mortgages, whatever. And about 80% of those are non-members.
Oh, wow.
And so what we try to do is pour back into the community. We have school supply days for kids who need school supplies to get them back. We have scholarships for traditional students and non-traditional students. This year we gave a $5,000 scholarship to a non-traditional student. She'd been out. She was really about 50 years old. She had never finished college. She wanted to. She wanted to finish it in sociology so she could help people who had needs. And so it was that we gave her that scholarship. And she was able to go back to college after her kids pretty much were in college. And now she'll be a productive person in the community. And I'm not saying she wasn't productive before. I'm saying she'll be a more productive person in an area that she loves doing. And what that does, in essence, is that brings the community together. Then, of course, we deal with entrepreneurs. We have about 125 entrepreneurs in our church. And so we meet on Sundays after church, second Sunday after church, and we bring in people to help them with their businesses, CPAs, people who have wisdom in terms of business acumen, problems, taxes, marketing, all of that. And we try to help develop them so in their area of entrepreneurship, they can go out. Of course, they go out representing themselves, Christ, the church, and the kingdom, good morals, good principles that produces a good product, and everybody benefits.
Everybody benefits. And so that kind of keeps your kingdom building as
Yes.
well and growing.
Yes.
What is your biggest advice to young people who might be scared to, or, you know, who might think if I come to church I can't do such and such, what
Okay.
would you tell to those people?
Oh, well, for the people who would come to our church, we are a mixed generational church. We have people who dress down to the togs, you know, with shirt and a tie and a suit, and we have people who come casual. Our concern really isn't your clothing. Our concern is to invest in you. And of course, there will be some things that will be different in every church to go to, but at our church, what we try to do is make sure that your needs are met at your level. Okay, you know, we have young adults and ministers, so he ministers pretty much to your age group, and also he comes on campus or around campuses in the city to help students with their needs. We're thinking about starting something now that I bet every college student will love. We're thinking about starting something called Exam Pray Day. All right, that's where just before final exams, we have a day of prayer where we pray for students not to be nervous so they can take tests, so they can recall material, so they can be on the dean's list, of course. You know, they have to study to do that. It's not going to happen just because we pray, but it's another encouragement mechanism to help them get where they need to be. What I would say to people who might be afraid to come to church, listen, you will never, ever get where you need to be unless you're willing to step out from where you are. George Washington Carver said it this way: start where you are with what you have and never be satisfied. All right, if in fact you're going to grow, and you are, if you want a career, and you should, if you want to excel, and that should be your goal, then you should be well-rounded. And having Christ in your life helps round you out. One of the worst things that can happen is to take a tire on a car and let the car sit for months, okay, without moving it. What you'll get is a flat space on the tire. And so when you crank the car up to drive it, every time it gets to the flat spot, you'll have a bumpy ride. When in fact, if you had driven it, it would have worn some, but you would have gone where you wanted to go. That's what I'm saying. If you only just take a certain segment of life and not be well-rounded, you're going to discover that life will be bumpy for you. But if you're well-rounded, if academia is mixed with morals and principles, if academia is mixed with goals and achievement, if academia is mixed with who it is you are and God has made you, what you'll discover is God will take your academia and cause you to excel in other areas of your life. In our church, you know, we try to be timely. We don't want to stay all day. I don't. And we want to talk current lingo. We want to be able to relate to you to this texting, tweetering, Facebook generation. We also want to be able to relate to the senior citizens who may be intimidated by the texting, the tweetering, and the Facebook. And so what we really try to present is a family image. Now that can be confusing for some young folks because their family structure was not something that was pleasant to them or for them. But what we try to do is have a family structure where there are guys, where there are women, where there are other peers your age, and where there are younger people. And so this makes for a composite family. And we try to interact in such a way to make you feel a part of the family. And if in fact you want to feel a part of the family, that can easily be done. If you don't, you can observe and see the real joy we have in being one.
Well, you're right. So with being a family with your ministry, how does that touch home with you? Like, what is the emotion you feel leaving every Sunday or every day? You know, how do you feel looking back, seeing your church? This is my church, my church family.
Well,
how does that make you feel?
Well, one of the things you need to understand is my wife and I come from large families. My wife has 11 in her family. I had 9 in mine.
Oh, wow.
And so largeness is part of who we are. And so I can relate to largeness, number one. But two, in a large family, one of the things you have to learn to do is to share. And you have to share you, not the things you have, because you don't have many things. So you have to learn to share you. So what I've learned in my walk with Christ and in the church is the sharing of me is more important than even your opinion of me. If I give you the best that I can give you of me without any ulterior motives other than to be genuine and authentic, then I can sleep well at night. And I think that if I do that, that what you will do is reciprocate, give back to me that which is best of you, and we develop the best in each other. So when I go to work every day, my goal is to find a way that day to make somebody be happy, to be blessed, so I can sleep well at night.
Oh, wow. Wow, well, that's strong and courageous. But guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back talking with Bishop Brooks. Stay tuned.
This is our world. It's a place of wonder, a place of opportunity. It's also a place that graduates of North Carolina A&T State University enter with grand ambition. Classrooms, hospitals, corner offices, laboratories. These are the places where our students flourish. It's proof our graduates leave here prepared for the careers that await them. It's why you'll find Aggies everywhere, making a difference in the world.
The College of Arts and Sciences is the largest college at North Carolina A&T in terms of students, faculty, and number of courses taught. Our students gather to research the causes of climate change and meteorology, study human depression and social work and biology, and perform on Broadway. The university and community relax in the cradle of arts and sciences through WNAA, the University Gallery, our HDTV studio, and the award-winning University Marching Band. Visit us online.
Hi guys, we're back with Aggie Spotlight, still talking with Bishop George Brooks. We were talking before the break, about how you felt about your ministry family, your church family. What are some tough obstacles that you face?
Well, first of all, there's always the element of change. A church and life is in constant change. And what you have to be is flexible. You don't have to compromise who you are to be flexible, but you have to be flexible. I'm reminded, and I grew up in the country, I'm reminded that when storms and strong winds came through, unless trees were extremely well rooted, they were uprooted. But then there were trees that had weak root systems, but they were able to bend with the wind, and they were not uprooted. They were able to maintain their growth and strength because they were flexible enough to bend. But it didn't diminish who they were. One of my greatest obstacles is knowing when to make the right change and following it all the way through. I think sometimes in ministry, there are so many things coming at you. I never embraced the touch your neighbor thing, in the church, everybody, touch your neighbor. I didn't come to church to touch my neighbor, I'm sorry. As a matter of fact, there's some neighbors that if I touch, they'll probably say it's sexual harassment. So I don't touch, I never embraced that because it's a fad. My goal, again, is to help you, to be one, like Christ, two, to be the best person you could be, and three, to impact you so with the Word of God that you go out and positively impact others. Now, the real obstacle is for me to get to where you live in my day-to-day walk and in my message. I don't care how smart I am. I don't care how many buildings I build. I don't care how much I travel. If my message doesn't reach you, we've both wasted our time. And so what I learned early in my ministry was I preached pretty much at a 5th grade level. And by that, the program, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? I preached at a 5th grade level. Here's what I figure. I figure if my sentence structure, my contents of my message can be understood by a 5th grader, then an adult, a college graduate, a PhD should have no problem.
Wow.
And so what I tend to do is find a way to do that pretty much in every aspect of ministry, and that's really a challenge. How do you get a young girl who's molested to understand that God really loves her and the things that have happened to her, that God can help her overcome that she can see the scar and still not feel the pain, that she can love and be loved for who she is rather than who someone wanted her to be? How do you get a young guy who hasn't had a man in his life to understand that fatherhood is really beneficial to him, and how I, being a spiritual father, can help him become the man he needs to be, and yet help him become, later in life, the kind of father he needs to be when he hasn't had a biological father present in his life. The challenge becomes, how do I take the message of Jesus Christ, transpose it into your life, make it relevant for you, and from there you grab it, hold on to it, and make it effective for the rest of your life.
Oh, wow. So those are some pretty tough obstacles that you run into every day.
Every day.
I mean, with so many members you run into.
Well, and not to mention the whole criminal component. You know, how do you help a mother or a father whose child or brother or sister has now committed a criminal act, and you're sitting before a judge, and you know the child or person has been an ideal person until this situation, and you go as a character reference. You know, are you saying, well, this person is inherently a good person, just made a poor decision, and if you don't say that, what does the rest of the family think? How do you handle a person who has gone to college, worked hard, and they go on a job and they get passed over 3 and 4 times, or they'll send a trainee in for them to train to be over them? How do you help them reconcile that to progress in their life, to peace within themselves, not being depressed, oppressed? How do you tell somebody that, you know, John Doe became the chancellor, or you made one mistake and you have one blight on your record, so you'll never be able to work in that arena? And so the challenge and the real obstacles to overcome is to help people understand they have value. Let me give you an example, if I may. If I had a $20 bill now, and I handed it to you, how much would it be worth? $20. For sure. Okay, if I took that $20 bill, put it under my feet, stepped on it, picked it up, handed it back to you, how much would it be worth?
$20.
No, but it's wrinkled, it's dirty.
It's a little wrinkled, but you know I'm a college student.
Well, but it would still be $20 even if you weren't a college student. Okay, if I took that $20 and threw it in water and it was wet, okay, it is now changed, you know, a number of times. It's been stepped on, it's been rained on, water's on it, but it's still worth $20. The point I try to prove to people is, no matter what you've gone through, being stepped on, being rained on, being stabbed in the back, you have inherent wealth with God. And what I want you to do is see from His perspective and not just what you've been through.
Oh, wow. Wow, so you help a lot of people. That's strong, because I know that caters to so many people. So many people can touch home with that in so many different ways. But what's fun for Bishop? What helps Bishop?
Well, now here's what you need to understand. In my life career, I wanted to be one of 3 things. I wanted to be an attorney initially, okay? Or I wanted to be a great businessman, or I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, okay? Well, I get to do all of that as a pastor. What turns me on is to see you successful. What turns me on is to see people born in our church grow up and go off in life. What turns me on is to have an obstacle. We sit down, pray through it, work at it, develop a strategy, overcome, you become victorious. What turns me on is to pray with people who are unable to have kids and find out they're pregnant. What turns me on is to see little kids come running down the aisle saying, Bishop, Bishop, how are you? And they're hugging on me, and, you know, they're squeezing, and, you know, they're slobbering all over me, and, you know, that turns me on. It turns me on to see old people who said, you know, chronologically, I'm 87 or 86 like my mom, but see her still driving. She you know, I built a pond for her. She loves to fish. So she comes up now and she fishes when the weather permits. And she says, well, let me take these fish and take them to the old people. She's 86. She wants to take them to the old people. So she's driving, she's involved. And, you know, to be able to pour into her life, to hold up her arms, to see her smile, to see her with her children when we come together for Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, to see her slap us like we were still little kids, 2 years old, you know, and to see her with a ruler chasing us around the house, that for me is my fulfillment of life. I'm not turned on by the glitter. Titles don't affect me, you know. I'm like Papa, I am what I am, you know. And if God blesses me with that, that's great. But I don't let titles define me.
Wow.
I am defined by who God made me and how I can help you.
Oh, wow. I like that. I'm going to have to take that home with me, if you don't mind. But speaking of titles, you are on a couple of boards. You're on the board of College of Arts and Sciences for A&T, TCT, that's the Christian television. You're on the board. Can you elaborate more about that?
Yeah, well, I'm also on Mechanics and Farmers Bank in Durham. It is the largest African-American owned bank in the state of North Carolina. As a matter of fact, it's the only. We're over 100 years old, and it was founded by people who invested their life savings to start a bank.
Oh, wow.
And I've been in the banking business or on bank boards for 20-some years now. I was on Greensboro Bank Board, and then, of course, Mutual Community Savings, and these, of course, merged. And with the merger, I went right along with them. So I'm at Mechanics and Farmers in Durham. We have Kim Saunders, who's our CEO, and she does a great job of being out in the community. And we're trying to find ways and means to reach young students your age and to be their bankers. But I love doing that. It gives me an opportunity to reach out. And of course, we do financing for a lot of churches, which is, you know, a part of who I am. We enable them to expand, to have ministries, to have family life centers, to own businesses. And so that gives me an opportunity to have input into the lives of others while indirectly, but in such a way that I'm impacting the kingdom of God in various ways. Then with TCT, I serve on their board, and this is a Total Christian Television, and we go into 170 nations. And we have a program there, it's called Fresh Fruit, so I'm the executive director of that, and we produce a program that promotes Christ, promotes human well-being, welfare, and caring for one another. And I've been on that board for now about 21, 22 years, when we were just a little small company that had maybe 6 or 7 television stations.
Oh, wow.
Now we have a multitude of stations all over the world, and I enjoyed that because what happens actually in Africa is the people in Africa tune into TCT. They take my message that I teach on Wednesday night or Sunday morning, and that becomes their Bible study.
Oh, wow.
So the sermon I teach or preach on Wednesday or Sunday is now being taught and explained in Africa, Kazakhstan, 170 nations. I did that. I love that. Also, here at Arts and Science, one of the things that concerns me is where A&T is with A, retention of students, B, getting them to graduate on time, and C, helping them come in with good scores such that we are rated well. I serve, and I'm overtly concerned that our students have needs that we may not be giving them in terms of helping them get where they need to be. And to be even a little more candid, you know, I like to see African American students see A&T as a quality university. And I don't want to see all of our students, good students, running to some other university. And I understand there are different majors, and I understand all of that. But we ought to be getting the creme de creme. And so scholarships and whatever training is required to have them at the best possible level, raising grade point averages, having the best professors and teachers and department chairs, being able to not only have people who are astronauts and who run for president, but having people who are CEOs and who demand that the arts follow their skill sets and their choreography that they have for life. A&T is just a marvelous place. And if I had $1 billion, I certainly would make sure that certain things happen. But since I don't, then what I have to be is a good alum and support wherever I can, with even if it's only a few dollars. I think if people understood the principle of smallness coming together to make a major effect. you know, it's atoms and molecules that make up all of us. And you know, you're a beautiful young lady, and that beauty doesn't come from just one thing, one big body. It's a conglomeration of things. And so what we got to understand about A&T, if I can only give $10, if I have 5,000 people giving $10, you know, that's $50,000, or $20. You know, I don't have to be a billionaire to support the programming. And I love the way our campus is looking, and you know, it looks manicured, and you know, so my thing is that here we just need to make absolutely sure, or I do while I'm on the board, I want to make sure that we remain at the top, that we don't close like some other HBUs have, and that our students have access to quality as well as quantity. So my serving here again is pouring back, such that, you know, there's a picture I have in my office of a man with his hand reaching over the wall to grab the hand of another person to pull him up. That's really what life is about. If you're going down life's pathway by yourself, you are a lonely, miserable individual. And God did not make us to be alone. And since he did not make us to be alone, he doesn't make junk to drop along the pathway. So then since he doesn't make junk, I know I'm somebody. So since I know I'm somebody, then I'm going to take somebody with me, because I refuse to get to the top by myself.
Oh, wow. Well, I see why the Business Journal has named you the most influential person since 2005 in the triad. But you said titles doesn't mean anything. But again, how does that make you feel? I realized that you just got a key to the city. How did that touch home with Bishop?
It's interesting. It's interesting. It's gratifying. It was, while it was never the immediate goal, it is good to know that other people recognize some goodness in you, recognize some attributes in you that you may not see as brilliantly as they do. I'm always surprised when students come back or adults come back and say, you know, I was really in a crisis and you talked to me 10 minutes and that's what changed my life. We have couples come tell us, my wife and I, you saved our marriage. Or we'll have young people say, I would have dropped out, you know, if you hadn't helped buy this one book for me. Or I've had cases where people say, you know, I was going to commit suicide and I came talk to you, saw life was worth living. And to get the key to the city, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. That's
and to be
cool.
and to be labeled, you know, one of the most influential people since 2005 in the city with all the people, that's pretty cool. To be a bishop of the Full Gospel Baptist Church, Fellowship International, with churches all over the world, and they have to come to you for your administrative assessment. That's pretty cool. Not too bad. To be a dad, a granddad, and a good husband and a pastor that people love. You know, we just had a gala and we had over 1,000 people who came out to help celebrate. I mean, that is really humbling, and I'm humbled more and more when I think that God would use me to help bless other people, and they in turn would be grateful and thankful that I was in their lives.
That's cool. You're right. That's pretty cool. And so you're going into this is your last year.
Yes.
And so you've handed the church off. You've I was looking at a sermon you did. You said it's time for him to shoot the ball.
Right.
So you've passed the ball. How does that?
That is bittersweet.
Bittersweet.
That is bittersweet. When you've been at something 37 years and you've been CEO, senior pastor, decision maker, intercessor, leader, father figure, financial, whatever you want to call it, person that's responsible, and all of a sudden that's going to change. It's not all of a sudden, because 5 years ago I started planning for my succession. I decided that I did not want to stay in the pulpit until I just decided I didn't want that. I just don't think that's excellence, and I believe everything should be done with excellence. For me, excellence is not an option. It's a mandate.
Oh, wow.
And in so doing, I helped develop what we call the CAFE principle. Okay, here's what it means. CAFE, commitment, All right? If you don't have commitment, you can't make it. Okay? That's the C. The A is accountability.
Accountability.
Got to be accountable. You got to be committed. Got to be accountable. The F is follow up. Nothing's complete until the follow-up is done. And the E is expect excellence.
Oh, wow.
So you're committed, you're accountable, you do the follow-up, and expect excellence.
Excellence.
So when you've instilled that in people for years and you've seen it work, and now you're getting ready to literally hand the ball off to someone, it's bittersweet. The sweet part is, I won't have to be spending 30, 40 hours, well, not 30, 3 or 4 days working on sermon ideas as frequently. Although I'll still be preaching, I'll still be doing conferences. I'm going to write a couple of books. My son and daughters have businesses, so I'm going to help them. And of course, I still have the 1,400 churches that I'm responsible for in full gospel. But it's bittersweet because it's your baby. I'll tell you what it's like in a different arena. It's like my daughter when she got ready to get married.
Oh.
I only have one daughter, right? One biological daughter. Now I have lots of daughters, spiritual daughters. Love them too. And she got ready to get married. Well, what I decided when she was born, if you can remember, they used to take the little shoes and they would plate them, bronze them. Well, I decided I was only going to bronze one. And the man who married her would have the responsibility of taking the other shoe.
Oh, wow.
And what he did with that was up to him and her. But what I was going to do was bronze what it was that she had done up until that point. So on the day I gave her away, I said to her husband, her mother and I have brought her to this point, and it's been in a bronze state. We've nurtured her, kept her, directed her. Now you have the other shoe for the rest of her life, but I expect her other shoe to at least be bronze, if not silver or gold.
Uh-oh. Oh, wow.
And so when you've invested in your children or in your church and you're getting ready to hand it off, you expect it to be at least silver or gold because they have the benefit of what you've done and what the talents they have. So you expect it to be better, but at the same time you know that your daughter's going to be there, but she's not going to be in the same role she was. She now has a husband, and she'll have children and all of that kind of stuff, and all of that will change. She'll never stop being your daughter, but it won't be in the same role. I can't call her and say, listen, get over here, I want you to help, we're going to do X, Y, Z. Well, she has a husband now. And so when you hand off the church, I'll always go to Mount Zion, I'll always be in attendance, and I'll always be working. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start working with the men. But to go from the leader to a member or a participant, it's a transition that takes a lot of prayer, takes a lot of adjusting, and I indicated it's bittersweet. But we have a great guy in Brian Pierce. He was on my staff about 13 years ago. He was a pastor of evangelism. He sang with the Men of Standard, so he has had great exposure. He did Christian plays all over the country, so he's good at marketing. And he went to Kannapolis, and he was over there at the church, stayed there for 13 years, and grew the church from about 200 people to about 1,200, built an edifice there, so he has experience in growth. And we brought him back the last 12, 18 months, let him readjust to the culture of Mount Zion. He was the chief administrative officer, so I just let him handle that, and we just kind of walked through some stuff. And he's my spiritual son. So my biological son didn't take over, but my spiritual son did. And I feel good about that because, one, he will do what's right. Two, he loves me, he loves the church, loves God, and that's a good combination. But more importantly, he will love the people. And so if he'll love the people, I'll be all right.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sure you know what's best. Yeah. And so you said you had a daughter and a son. Biological. That's your only two.
Yeah.
You got how many grandkids? We
got 5 grandkids. We have 4 in college. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
And then we have a 10-year-old. And my grandkids are. I told my kids I'm tired of. No, not tired. I'm not spending any more money on you guys. I'm investing in my grandkids. The Bible says, leave a legacy for your children's children, which mean your grandchildren. So I want to give my grandchildren an opportunity to have a head start in life. And we started them off with budgets and savings and some other stuff so that they could understand finances. And so I'm loving it now. It's a good time in our life. My wife and I have been married 44 years. By the way, she's an Aggie as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I met her here.
Have Aggie surrounding
hey,
you.
look, I got Aggie everything all over me. But at any rate, I met her when registration was not as efficient as it is now. We stood in registration lines for hours, and I saw her in the registration line over at Moore Gym, and I was rooming with her cousin and didn't know it. And so I saw her, and I said to him, man, who is that girl? Wow, woohoo, you know. And he said, man, that's my cousin. I said, you lie like a dog. That can't be your cousin. This cannot be this easy. And so he said, yes, it is. So after we finished registering, I went over and met her. We dated about 4 years, and then we got married, and we had 2 kids, and she's just a phenomenal woman, absolutely phenomenal woman. But I would say this, that the whole of my life, A&T played such a significant role and has played such a significant role in my life. And without it, I would be a totally different person. And in so doing, I can never thank A&T and those who poured into me enough. And will always pour back into them as much as I can. So A&T, dear A&T. It was all I want to know right now. So, you know, I went away to Shaw to get my master's and went to California and got my doctorate.
I wasn't going to say nothing about you being a Shaw man, but you got your Master of Divinity from there.
Shaw.
And then you went on to get your doctorates as well.
And so then I went on to become a bishop. So all of that helps. But the foundation, see, you can never exclude the foundation. I don't care how well building is, if the foundation is crazy, then the house won't stand. And I've had some moments. I've had some moments in my life. You know, when I was about 48, I had open heart surgery, and so I had to, you know, work through that. Then of course I had cancer, and I'm a cancer survivor, and I'm cancer free. So God has been extraordinarily good to me. Had some great doctors, good prayer warriors, intercessors, people who loved me, cared for me, nurtured me. And again, my wife was in all of that. And those were moments when my career at the church could have ended. But I had good staff, people like Vince Harrison who took over, and the church never missed a beat, never missed a beat. And I've had and still have great people at Mount Zion. Have great people, everybody from doctor lawyers to people who are in poverty. And that's what I love about our church. We have a good cross-section of people. We're not elitist. We are just everyday people who love God, want to change the community, and help people become the best they can be.
And with that being said, that's it right there. Like I said, that's it. It's stronger than 100 pounds of garlic. But
I like that.
Yeah. But is there anything else you would like to say?
Well, the one thing I would like to say is, I would like to say for people like yourself, my prayer and desire for the next generation is don't be afraid to take chances. You will never, ever reach your goal unless you're willing to get out of the box. A box has 4 walls, and it'll keep you locked in. It'll let you see, but it'll never let you do. If you never take a risk, you will never, ever succeed beyond what you can comprehend. And your comprehension as a human being is so limited that if you will take a chance and step outside the box, trust God, know who you are, and don't let people or circumstances change your core being, you will always be successful. And success is not measured by how many dollars you have, how many square feet are in your house, or the kind of cars you drive. Success is always measured by how pleased you are with yourself.
Oh, I like that. Like I said, stronger than 100 pounds of garlic. Well, guys, that has been another edition of Aggie Spotlight. I want to thank Bishop George W. Brooks, for coming out with us. See you guys next time.